Okay, so like February for me was kind of a busy month. I was trying to post something every weekday. I took a break on the weekends, but the weekdays I was trying to put something up every day. Most of them were shorts. A couple of them were kind of like longer form videos. But I'll try to talk about everything right now here in case maybe you saw something and you were curious about it. Maybe I'll answer a question you might have had if you happen to see this. If not, then feel free to follow up for more info. So like the first thing was Monday the 2nd, I posted like a cover of the Beatles song called Blackbird. And that one I won't talk about it because I go into detail about that at the end of the performance of that song. So I would have a look at that if you're curious. Tuesday the 3rd, that was a little thing that I just came up with. I called it Dual Wield. And it's pretty simple. It was just like, I just started playing that kind of riff, that kind of pull-off riff. And I just transferred it to a different string and figured like, oh, I can play chords under this. And the chords I play were like G, D, and A. And then like A to A7 and then back to G. And yeah, it takes like 10 minutes to write something like that. And like, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes to record it. So no big deal. It sounds kind of cool. I like the guitar tones on that one. Wednesday the 4th, that's an acoustic guitar kind of like study that I'd written. There's some kind of interesting stuff going on with the harmony, I guess. It has different parts and stuff in that song. It was kind of a pain to learn how to play. It took me a while. But yeah, I guess the big thing, like I was saying, was a technique issue with the right hand, like playing the A string with the thumb and then letting that ring, and then playing shapes where you're hitting like the D string with the thumb and then, like P and then I and then M with the D string and then the G string and then the B string like that, while that A string still rings. So you got to get that kind of thumb in there on the D string really precisely so that the A string can still ring. That was kind of the big pattern with the right hand that I was working on in that piece. Let's see. Thursday the 5th was something I just called blues rock. Again, something I kind of made up on that Strat, on that Affinity Strat. Simple chords. It's just A major and G major, and D major is the first part of it, and then that kind of like turnaround that I improvise over. That's just I'm improvising over an E chord or E7, and it was kind of cool because the first part is like set. I play the same thing every time. Then when I get to that E chord, I can kind of improvise a transition to get back to the A chord, and I wind up kind of halfway up the neck, and I have to. The transition that I'm playing is such that I have to get back down to the open position to play the A chord again that I start out with. And so I'm just kind of doing a major pentatonic just on those two middle strings, the G and D string, to kind of walk back down to the open position. That's all I'm doing with that. Friday the 6th was an old song that I used to hear a lot in maybe like late middle school, I guess. I don't know. Mid 90s. It was called, what was it called? Bound for the Floor. The band was called Local H. And it's a rhythm practice. I categorized it because I just remember like they have this really tight beat between the drummer and the guitar player. And the thing with that band apparently was they got rid of the bass player at some point. And instead of getting a new bass player, the guitar player just put like a bass pickup on his low E and A string on his guitar and outputted that through a separate output jack to a bass amp. So he would play bass and guitar at the same time. And so maybe that's how they got that kind of rhythm so tight. I guess it's kind of a bit sad. Like you're like, oh man, some bass player like lost a job or whatever. Like some aspiring bass player is not able to play in this band, but at the same time, it's like, just easier, I guess. And it's just a 2-person thing, which is uncommon to see because the guitar player also sang. Monday the 9th, so I'm working on the Carcasi Etudes for Opus 60, slowly working my way through those. This was number 8. Carcasi Etude number 8 out of that set. It's a lot of slurs, as they call them, as I've learned in the classical world, which just means like a hammer-on or a pull-off or a slide or some other thing that you do. These are all about like pull-off with the pinky. So you're making a chord shape and you have to keep pulling off with that pinky finger. A lot of it happens on the high E string. And yeah, I mean, it seems simple enough, but when you actually try to play it, like there's all kinds of little like noise and stuff that you can hear in that rendition of it. And I could clean that up a lot, but with those Carcasi pieces, for me, it's always a balance of like, I want to learn something from it. I want to get something out of it, but I don't want to spend like too much. It's a marginal cost, marginal benefit now, what it is. So I feel like I get like pretty good amount of marginal benefit, but if I keep going with it to perfect it, then what is that really getting me in terms of marginal benefit? And it's costing me a lot of time. I'm not a professional classical guitar player or anything. It's just for fun. So I don't want to obsess over stuff like that too much. Tuesday the 10th. So there's this lady called V. I think her name's Veronica Wilson, and it's like at Learn Play Create on YouTube. And she has kind of a cool channel. I think she's relatively new channel. She talks about how to like break out of the intermediate guitar, I guess like rut, or how to move past the intermediate. And one of her posts that I saw was where she wrote her own song, and this is just kind of my rendition of that because I thought it was a cool song, and I started kind of playing around with those chords. So it's E major 7, then E7, then A major 7, and then I'm playing F sharp minor 7 flat 5, but on hers she plays like a G sharp 7 over F sharp, something like that. It's a cool sound because that F sharp minor 7 flat 5 gives you that kind of minor 4 sound. It's got the C instead of the C sharp, to take you back to the one chord, the E major 7. And so in my kind of version of it, I'm just kind of playing the 3 and the 7 of each chord on those middle D and G strings. And I think I hit an open E and A, but it kind of implies what the chord is, and then I just play like a little solo thing over it. So yeah, that's kind of that one. Wednesday the 11th is the Stevie Ray Vaughan song called Lenny. In January, I did some SRV shorts, and they were popular, so I was like, oh, people like SRV. Well, of course they do. So I thought I'd try Lenny here. And I remember trying to learn this song a few years ago. It was really difficult. And this time around, I was like, oh, it's just the first part's E major pentatonic. And then he's doing some chord shape. I can't remember exactly what it is. But the cool thing is for that kind of second part, it sounds all kind of dreamy, It's the same shape, he just moves it up and down the neck. So once you learn that shape, it's really easy to be able to move it. So I think like maybe that song's easier than to learn than maybe people think sometimes. And once you get into it, it's like, oh, okay, I see what he's doing. Thursday the 12th is the Diving Duck Blues. This was on that original Taj Mahal album from '68. And I can't remember why I was listening to this. I came across it, but then that song came on. I'd never heard that before. I was like, wow, it's just like a straight eighth blues thing. And it sounds just like the guitar and bass play the same line. It basically sounds like everything they did pop music wise in the 80s, just that straight eighth kind of thing going on. Of course, they don't play the same progression. So, I mean, to me, it just sounded like super modern on an album from '68. It was like a blues album. So I was, I thought I'd try playing that. It's not too tough to play either. It's fun. Friday the 13th. That's an Alice in Chains song that was popular again, like when I was in middle school, high school. I think that was from their first alternative album. Like they had Facelift and they had Dirt, and then like we did that all alternative. And so like I think that was from Jar of Flies, where it was kind of alternative-y. And so I found the bass and drums track, and I was like, let me just play around with some different solo ideas. So I'm trying to kind of play the changes and stuff. And that's kind of what I came up with. It's pretty like kind of noodly and kind of quick, just for fun. Legato stuff that I thought would be kind of fun to play. It took me a while I kind of wrote all that out. It took me a while to learn it and try to perfect it. Hopefully it makes me a bit more like I can apply that to other things, we'll see. Okay, Monday the 16th, Carcasi Etude 9. Like that's a great one. It's one of the ones that's a lot of fun to play. If you're thinking like, I want to learn a Carcasi Etude for fun, that would be a great one to try. It's mostly like one note at a time. I mean, you hit like a bass string and then you're playing kind of one note at a time. Otherwise, there's some other chords later on, but that's the basic idea of it, and it's just kind of fun to get into. Tuesday, the 17th, was the song called Say Hello to Heaven. I'm blanking on the name of that band now. It's called, I have no idea. Whatever. But it was like Chris Cornell, and then it had like people from Pearl Jam or whatever. The album came out in '91. I didn't know that. I thought it was later. I thought it was like mid-'90s or something that came out. But no, it was early on, and it was just a song that was on the radio a lot, so I thought I'd kind of learn it. I liked the sound of the chords. It has that kind of major, like when they play the flat 3 chord is a major chord. It's a cool sound. Okay, Wednesday the 18th. I just called this like light and metal. I had like in January, I had something I came up with like pop punk, where I just came up with this arpeggiated C chord, and I was playing this moving bass line under it. Then I played kind of a distorted thing, and it sounded kind of like punk. And so this I was kind of going with the same concept, but it came out more metal sounding. So I got a clean part and a distorted part. Just something I'm messing around with. Thursday the 19th. This was Thursday the 19th was just a B minor pentatonic progression. I found the track somewhere and just improvising over it. The cool thing with this one is I came up with a little like a riff, and then the practice was improvising, like playing that riff and then improvising a bit, and then go back to the riff and improvise a bit, and that way it gives your improvised solo like a lot more structure, because you know, like, I'm gonna have 8 bars of this and then I gotta go back to my riff, and so I have to come up with something kind of coherent and cohesive that makes sense within this 8-bar frame, and then I go back to the riff. So it puts kind of a definite like bookend on what you're doing to give you some, you know, you're not just soloing for as long as you want. You know, you have to like make some statements or some kind of idea that's definite in that framework. So I think it's good practice for that. The 20th, Plush, Stone Temple Pilots. I think a lot of people know that song. Yeah, another one that was popular when I was in middle school, so I was practicing, you know, rhythm with that one. Monday the 23rd, I released that Children of the Sea thing. I did a song, an old Black Sabbath song. Again, like as with Blackbird from the Beatles, I have a lot of commentary on that after the performance. So if you click on that, you can see all my thoughts on it. Tuesday the 24th, this was a exercise to write a chord progression with a lament bass. This was from a guy called Jake at a YouTube channel called Signals Music Studio. He's got some really interesting stuff. I've watched his channel for a while, and this is one that I thought, hey, let me try this. And so this is just my, you know, ideas, like his task. He presents a task, and this is my, you know, completion of it, how I would do it. This is cool because you go down a chromatic step each time, and you can write a chord progression in a minor key, even if each note is like chromatically descending. It was kind of a cool thing. Wednesday the 25th, AC/DC song called Ride On. I heard this, like YouTube recommended it, and I clicked on it, and I couldn't remember what it was, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that, you know. Hadn't heard it, I don't know how long, so it's pretty simple, just a blues, and then he's playing kind of these chords over it. It's like a 2-guitar thing. Really similar to, there was a ZZ Top song called like Jesus Just Left Chicago, and this is basically like the same, almost exact same idea. I guess there's other stuff that I don't know about. They do the same thing. I don't know if they're in the same key, but it's that, you know, that kind of thing. 26, Thrill Is Gone. Actually, I found this track from that same lady, V, I talked about before. She had another video where she was playing over this. I was like, wow, that's a great sounding track for this B.B. King song. So I found the track, and I was kind of messing around with it, and these were kind of ideas that I would play over that. So, you know, another credit to V. Last thing, 27th, Friday, that's today, and it's Hysteria, that song by Def Leppard. I had this song in my head for some reason. It's one of these things where it's like they have 2 guitar players in the band, but when you hear the music, you're like, where's the guitar? You know, it's like, and that's not really an insult. I mean, I think that's a kind of a cool original sound that they had. So I was curious, and this is my, like, for like a lot of chorus on that clean guitar, then kind of what he's doing, kind of subtle stuff that he's doing with the distorted guitar. It was kind of fun to work with. So anyway, those are my ideas on these shorts I did on February. If you happen to see this, have questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, till next time.